Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I'm Leenda, and this is for the record, Your Honor. Jet Lawrence and Hunter Lawrence as plaintiffs versus Lucas Mirtl, defendant. Please be advised this video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Always do your own research to make and come to your own conclusions. Presenting information and details of a dispute between both brothers, Jet and Hunter Lawrence, who are plaintiffs in this case, suing defendant Lucas Mirtl, who is their former agent and media manager.
All rise. The court of speculation is ready. Here on For the Record, and is now fully in session. Everyone but the jury may be seated. Your Honor will proceed.
Everyone but the jury may be seated. Bailiff, please address the jury.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will truly listen to this case and render a true verdict and a fair sentence as to this defendant? Opinions and speculations may be discussed and are not to be taken as fact. You may be seated.
Members of the jury, your duty today will be to determine whether the defendant is guilty or not guilty based only on facts and evidence provided in this case. The prosecution must prove that a crime was committed and that the defendant is the person who committed the crime. However, if you are not satisfied of the defendant's guilt to that extent, then reasonable doubt exists and the defendant must be found not guilty. If you could please leave a comment down below with your thoughts. And while you are at it, hit that like button. Much appreciated. Proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Today, I address the jury, the fans of the sport, and those viewers. Today, we discuss and review Jetson and Hunter Lawrence of Honda HRC and what they have brought forth of a lawsuit against Lucas Mirtl. Let's begin with the filing on behalf of these Australian boys. United States District Court, Middle District of Florida, Tampa Division, case number 25CV252, Jet Lawrence and Hunter Lawrence, plaintiffs versus Lucas Mirtl, defendant. Complaint. Plaintiffs Jet Lawrence and Hunter Lawrence, collectively the Lawrences, hereby sue defendant Lucas Mirtl for money damages, return of misappropriated personal property, and an accounting and allege. Summary of the case. This case involves Mirtl's systemic misappropriation of hundreds of thousands of dollars from Jet and Hunter Lawrence, his two clients. The Lawrences are two professional motocross racers who are in their 20s. Mirtl, who until recently was their sports agent, oversaw virtually all aspects of their professional careers and was entrusted to operate and manage various business ventures related thereto. Specifically, Mirtl managed and or controlled, including with signatory authority, certain bank accounts, including Wells Fargo bank account at issue. It's always got to be with Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo account number in the name of Jetson Donuts LLC, which was maintained for the ultimate financial benefit of the Lawrences. God, I wish I could have one of those donuts.
Young lady, please focus on the topic at hand. Please proceed.
However, rather than manage these finances for the benefit of the Lawrences, Mirtl took over control and overused his position of trust and stole a significant amount of money. And in these documents, it is alleged it's from at least one account, the Wells Fargo account, for his own personal benefit. The total amount alleged that Mirtl looted from the Lawrences is estimated to exceed $600,000. This amount includes over $360,000 in direct looting of the Lawrence's account, and B, another $240,000 in lost sponsorship money from Alpine Stars that was withheld because Mirtl inexplicably failed to repay Alpine Stars for the cost of the replica gear and merchandise, in spite of the fact that the merchandise was indeed sold to retail consumers, and all net retail sales proceeds were paid into the Wells Fargo account.
Order in the court. Continue.
And let me add, the record shows, Your Honor, worse yet, it is unclear whether there are additional funds that Mirtl may have misappropriated, and Lawrence's themselves and through their other professionals continue to identify additional misappropriations of money by Mirtl on almost a daily basis. So what we are saying is that we are still looking into and finding such errors and concerns. As an example of the depths of this breach of trust, Mirtl paid his personal legal fees for his divorce from this Wells Fargo account.
Oh my, continue.
If this is true, stupid. So stupid.
Young lady, please focus on the topic at hand. Please proceed.
Also, from the same account, Mirtl paid for the purchase of a motorhome for the benefit of 2 other related motocross riders in Europe, whom Mirtl also manages. If this were not shocking enough, Mirtl also transferred huge sums of money directly to his personal bank account. The list goes on, including substantial professional-related American Express and Venmo payments to multiple individuals, including several inexplicable payments made to one former professional motocross racer from this Wells Fargo account, as further described below. The Lawrences did not know about these transactions and did not authorize them. This is a statement that will be repeated, so it is on the record. As such, the Lawrences bring this action for conversion, unjust enrichment, breach of fiduciary duty, repellment, and an accounting. In addition, this complaint will likely be amended in the near future, being investigated, and there might be more to come. Now, I will tell you, members of the jury, listeners, viewers, that these documents were released to some very well-known outlets in the motorsports world. Racer X had dropped it on Instagram, but only certain pages. And when I looked on Pacer, I couldn't find it. It was taken down. It said it wasn't available anymore. So regardless of which side you are tending to lean towards, it is a bit fishy that this went public. And whether it's true or not, Lucas Mirtl is still claiming and standing by that. As of 2 days ago, he was not served. But according to records online, it looks like he was served. So I will continue into the next document that is available. The bulletin is number 30 at this point. So it seems that only certain pages were released to public, either because all the main details were there, or it's only certain details they want us to know.
I trust that there is evidence of these transactions. Please submit them to the court.
All right, moving forward, based on the Lawrences' review of the transactions in this Wells Fargo account, Mirtl has been repeatedly transferring substantial funds owned by the Lawrences to himself and repeatedly paying substantial personnel-related transactions without the Lawrences' knowledge or authorization. Authorized divorce transfers. For example, Mirtl made several transfers related to his divorce totaling at least $18,075, including the following non-exhaustive transfers: August 21st, 2024, wire transfer of $7,500 to Ballakeen Hayes Divorce Law Firm. December 3rd, 2024, Venmo transfer of $3,075 to Leila Mirtl, Mirtl's soon-to-be ex-wife. And December 11th, 2024, wire transfer of $7,500 to Ballakeen Hayes, again, the divorce law firm. So these are fairly recent. Additionally, on at least one other occasion, Mirtl wired funds from account number to a divorce law firm only to have the funds returned almost immediately. On August 20th, 2024, Mirtl wired $15,000 to the law firm of Nance and Motley LLP, but the funds returned the next day on August 21st, 2024. It is unclear whether these funds were rejected by the recipient or recalled by Mirtl. So in other words, he could have been like, oh shit, I am leaving a paper trail. I got to get rid of this. And somehow either called them and said, please don't take that transaction, and went back in and recalled it. Or they were like, okay, this is coming out of an account that is not under his name, so we want nothing to do with this. So if this goes to some sort of trial, they're going to check that out. And they're probably going to have a subpoena and question that law firm, possibly as witnesses. The Lawrences did not know and or authorize these transactions. Unauthorized motorhome purchase. Similarly, and again, the Wells Fargo account, Mirtl wire transferred nearly $45,000 to BNP Paribas Fortis beneficiary Paul for a motorhome purchase on November 7, 2024. Paul Satin, and here is the listed website, paulsatin.com, is a luxury motorhome company in Lommel, Belgium. Upon information and belief, two of Mirtl's clients in Europe had been looking to purchase a new motorhome for the 2025 MXGP season, and Mirtl agreed to finance a portion of this purchase. The Lawrences did not buy or rent any motorhome from Paul Satin and did not know about and or authorize this transaction. I mean, let's be real. Do these two brothers want to fund and pay for their competitors, possibly? Other riders, homes, and accessories? I don't think so. The Lawrences did not buy or rent the motorhome from Paul Satin. Thus, unbeknownst to Mirtl's two other clients who were buying the motorhome, Mirtl took the Lawrences' money for the benefit of his other clients and to extend it might integrate him to other clients, and to the detriment of the Lawrences. Unauthorized online transfers to Mirtl directly. Mirtl also transferred from Wells Fargo account more than 30 online transfers to himself directly, and additional monies totaling at least $140,000, including but not limited to listing some of the other transfers as loans to be paid back by EOM when no such loans were ever discussed or approved by the Lawrences. Additionally, Mirtl attempted to mask his fraud by labeling some of the transfers as commissions or advances on commissions. Or even better, consulting fees. Some transfers were not labeled at all and were just transferred to his personal account. So in highly opinion and speculation, not knowing much about this man, you would want to look into, does he have any substance abuse? Because I'm going to be real with you guys. Who in their right mind would do such things and not try to at least cover it up? This is bizarre. For someone that's been in the business for so long and has been praised by many, how could this be? In fact, Mirtl was not authorized to receive any funds directly from any of these accounts of the Lawrences, including that Wells Fargo account, for any commissions or reimbursements of expenses allegedly due to Mirtl. And it was said that his company was within a company, which was Wasserman. And I will be honest, if you look him up and you're familiar with the channel here and our code terms because of, the community guidelines on this platform, well, we call him EpiPen, and he's connected to him. So we'll leave that as that.
I trust that there is evidence.
Instead of Mirtl's compensation and reimbursements for bona fide business expenses, including travel and lodging, would be paid by Mirtl's employer, Wasserman Media Group. See? pursuant to the terms and conditions of Mirtl's agreement with the Wasserman Media Group. Again, the Lawrences did not know and or authorize these transactions. Unauthorized American Express payments. It gets better, y'all. In addition, Mirtl made many unauthorized and personal purchases. The failure to repay Alpine Stars. And this has caught many people in the public's attention right off the bat. As indicated above, the purpose of Wells Fargo account was to receive revenues derived from fees of the VIP access at races for their fans and replica gear and merchandise of the Lawrences that they sold. Alpine Stars, a motocross apparel company which sponsors the Lawrences, sold replica gear and merchandise to the Lawrences. Mirtl accepted the gear and merchandise on behalf of the Lawrences and then sold them to Feld Entertainment. Like Feld needs more money, people. Which was contracted to sell the replica gear and merchandise at the races. Mirtl then failed to pay back Alpine Stars with the money from the sale of the gear and merchandise to Feld. From January 2024 through June 2024, Alpine Stars contacted Mirtl requesting the repayment of $240,000, representing the value of the gear and merchandise Mirtl accepted from Alpine Stars. So as of right now in this situation, it looked like he pocketed the money from selling this to Feld. Mirtl responded that he would pay the $240,000, but failed to do so after repeated requests from Alpine Stars to pay the applicable invoice. Accordingly, Alpine Stars recouped the $240,000 by withholding that amount from the sponsorship fees owed to the Lawrences. If I am reading this correctly, that means Alpine Stars were saying, look, this is how much you made with us, say this month, but we're taking this much out because you owe us this money. And technically, that's damaging to the Lawrences. Not just in relationship, business-wise, but money-wise, financially, they're taking a hit. As a result, Mirtl caused the Lawrences to lose $240,000 in sponsorship fees. So this is the information the world is aware of and has seen on social media. But I would like to show and suggest some evidence to enter into the file for the record.
Your request has been granted. Please proceed with caution and state the names and basis of the matter prior to presentation of such possible evidence to be made on record as these are discussing these allegations prior to trial.
Understood and will do, Your Honor. The first video footage comes from the channel Cooksey Media, where he had interviewed Lucas Mirtl. So let's check this out and discuss.
I wake up and I get the Racer X link sent to me. I look at it and I'm like, and I've been talking to you, so you know, I know kind of your side of the situation, and I see this. And I'm not gonna lie, they did a really good job of painting it pretty bad. We're gonna go through it. But I was like, what is this, Mirtl? And you're like, what are you talking about? I had to send you the link. And I could hear your authentic reaction when you're like, what? Like, it seems like this, there's got to be some weird motivation. When on earth did they send legal documents to the media outlets before they send them to the actual defendant?
Like,
Very good point.
Served.
So you still haven't got those legal documents?
No, low key. I'm hoping it happens like while I'm talking to you on this.
Do not quote me, but I believe I saw it was saying it was served to him on the 30th.
Nothing. Like this is where it sits. And we'll get into as much as I can talk about, right, on it. Like, I'm not shying away about this fucking topic. I'm not going away. The reality is, in every situation like this, if from my agency side, an investigation is taking place, Lucas Mirtl's, if whatever, named the person who would be removed, he's on administrative leave or he's been removed for his job, an investigation is taking place, everyone in this country is due the justice process that's offered to you, or whatever that verbiage is, and we look forward to an outcome and a decision being made, by the justice system or independent inquiry or whatever it would be. No, I got fucking nailed straight online, allegations, right? Last week it was that the FBI and criminal, like, I'm fucking getting nailed, like, well and truly, which again makes no sense. Then today we've got a lawsuit getting filed. Fine, you can file a lawsuit against everyone. Sure, it doesn't look good, but it's not designed to. It's up to me to defend. They're not designed to, like, go, hey, here's our big hole in a case, or here's the omission, here's this, right? If that was the total and utter truth, what was filed, I must be the biggest idiot in the world who's going out there and saying, oh, I'm innocent, because what that says does not paint a picture. So everyone who's writing shitty comments or whatnot, I'm with you, I would do the same. I would think the exact fucking same, right? But wait for a second. Look at how this has been released. I'm not meant to be believed due to how this has been released. I'm not offered due process how this has been released.
He's actually absolutely right. Right now, everybody has painted a picture, an idea from what they've seen. And the first thing they've seen are parts of this filing in favor of the Lawrence brothers and who's representing them, including Wasserman's involvement.
Yes, right. Everyone's opinion's already made up. I have a mountain to climb. And not jamming it down people's throat, but I'm not shying away.
And Lucas, that's what's so difficult about it is you don't have a job that doesn't rely on your, professional image, and they have attacked the image before they even went legally, and that's messed up. But yeah, and I want to get into some of these accusations because we've talked and you have explanations for all of it. Like it's normal stuff in the day of an agent.
Full clarity. I'll explain it the best I can. Right, Chris. My attorney and legal team are mortified of me. Everyone in the world says, "Be quiet, shut your fucking mouth." Everyone texts me about Instagram posts and whatnot. I tell you, and I tell everyone, that's what fucking guilty people do, right? And I'm not doing it. So there is obviously impending litigation, but I'll also clarify that I haven't received that doc yet. It could be filed, but I'm not going to get served it. I'm going to assume that it should be real, right? But me and my attorney have not received this filing, right? So again, we've talked earlier, it hasn't matched any sort of protocol or normality of a situation like this. So just wanted clarification on that we've taken the assumption that this thing's absolutely real, and I will get served it, and I will get a chance to go to court to defend it if they still want to go to court.
Let me just point something out that's a little bit suspicious about this situation. And people always call me conspiracy theory, blah, blah, blah. I'm just not on their stupid narrative. You know me, Mirtl. I call you out, I call people out, I call what I see. And what I saw was Racer X post something legally that hasn't even been served to you. And I know that Mathis wasn't, well, I don't know that for a fact, but I'm pretty darn sure because he was at the Western Power sales meeting on Thursday. You really think he's doing a bunch of deep dives to find that legal document? And that's who they claim found it.
I heard bullshit. I heard like part that like Michael Lindsay said he had it the night before, or he had it Thursday night, because all these people are talking. Right, there's so much chatter on this thing. Still, me and my attorney have to go to Racer X now to see what's going on in my case. Last week was vital. This week it's Racer X. So next week
To be honest, if there's rumors that something's going on, just a little bit of smoke, anyone could look it up on Pacer. Stuff like this is public domain. Everyone has access to it.
I don't know. Cooksey, they may call you.
They won't call me. I'm the only one they won't call. And I've done this, and the way they've attacked me, and I've been attacked by these media outlets. They all work together. I'm telling you, we have a CNN style. Davey Coombs is pretty good at the way he built this thing, and that's me, not you saying that.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, the reason this is my life is on my life's work, my legacy. I don't want to be taken like, oh, he's crying about the way it's been served and whatnot. No, I think it's very, very critical, right? And especially with the allegation and now the filing, right? I think the facts, to follow the facts of this right now is very critical to go, what is actually happening? Because without that, even I would be lost in my legal team. Right?
Either he's absolutely terrified that something else is going to be found out the deeper they dig, or he is really worried that he would have to take a change in careers due to all this.
Right? So I think it's very critical, and as you establish different motives, the motive, which I'll allude to but won't get into, right? But that's all going to come out, right? And it's shocking for sure. Like there is everything of a Hollywood movie kind of tied to this, and I'm actually, for me, that it's getting played out in the public. It's traumatizing, it's damaging to people who love me, it's to my people who believed in me. Like, that's truly fucking heartbreaking. It's bullshit, and I hate it. And I'm never going to forgive on how this has been done. But it's so crazy that if I was telling this when this is all said and done, when it's told, if I was telling this without the public, with the backstory, they'd be like, he's lost it.
Seriously, well, and with my own personal situation, with the way this thing's gone down, if I told people the things that are going to happen to me in the next 4 years because I'm just talking on my media platforms, they'd say, that's crazy. Nobody would do that. But it actually happens, Mirtl. But hey, let's get into some of the allegations against you and just kind of share. So, because like I said, these are things that just, I don't know. So there's one account that's in question, at least that I know of, I believe it's a Wells Fargo account tied to the Jet Lawrence experiment. But just tell me about that account. What is this account?
It's an LLC that was used, right? That was sitting there. It's an LLC, just Jets and Donuts LLC. It was in the infant stages of the donut situation, and it was just sitting there. No one wanted liability. My agency didn't want liability on 2 semis on the road with custom-made sea containers for a VOP. The Lawrences didn't want liability on it, so they wanted it all to kind of live on an LLC, right? Smart people, me, I'm just a sports agent, right? I'm just going on what was discussed. But I think you go back. I bought essentially me, Wasserman, at the time, and I think you got to remember, I'm Wasserman, right? I've run my own P&L at Wasserman. It's in my employment agreement, right? I run as my own business within the company, right?
Okay, hold on. Let me clarify. So I think I understand. I think people understand. I don't mean to interrupt you. So this account that we're talking about, this Wells Fargo account, is not the Lawrence's account. It's not your personal. It's not your personal account. This is a Wasserman business account. Essentially,
it would be, again, without any expertise or knowledge, right? My attorneys will clarify what that, in the process, what that account is, and I'm not going to label it. I'm sorry for the legalese, but I've got to be careful.
No, we don't need details. I understand you got a court battle, but I'm just trying to wrap my... Go ahead.
It's an account that they used for the finance of it that wasn't attached to anyone but me. My social was on it. I was the signatory on it, and I was the person that if someone was doing a transfer, either the accountants who had full access of it, the finance manager attached to the Lawrences and the whole thing, he was doing all the invoicing from it. They all had the password for it. I was just the one to set up, but it was not the Lawrences account, right? And I'll go into the next part. The VIP experience was it was about selling jerseys, just giving people the ability to interact with the athletes some more, right? And possibly have a lifetime experience, just what they do in other sports, right? Like I just think we were missing that. I think it was interpreted really poorly by our public, right? Like during it, and I think it was the worst miserable idea of all time, and it continues to punish me, to be quite honest. But so when I pitched that, and as a rule of thumb as an agent, never use your athlete's money. Funny enough in the situation, but so I took the money from Wasserman. I have the Wasserman's money. We have investment money, we seed money, we support athletes, right? I am my own P&L within Wasserman. I have to settle every year what I spend versus what I bring in, and there's a split and whatnot. People who know sports agencies or people who kind of across it will realize, right, you run as your own business. Well, at my level, I run as my own business, right? And that's T&E, it's what I pay my employees, right? They all come underneath me, what I pay myself, right? And it bounces and it moves up and down all year, right? If you looked at my P&L sheet, it's like, I'm always notorious at Wasserman, the most in travel and expenses, right? Notorious, right? But I also believe that if I'm making money of an athlete and I can be there, I always will be. To be clear, I paid for the Lawrence, the semis and Lawrence experience. No one wanted liability on it. This was this account. Every cent from the Lawrence experience was, until those trucks were paid off, was Wasserman's money in my P&L. Right? In my P&L.
Let me just, before you, I'm just trying to keep it, because it's kind of hard to follow. So I'm just trying to, I like to dumb it down because I'm not the smartest guy in the world, so I like to repeat it so you understand that I understand. So what this is essentially Wasserman. So you're an employee of Wasserman, or are you a 1099?
I wish I was a 1099, no, employee.
Okay, so you're an employee, and you have an account that is Wasserman's that you're responsible for that goes against your salary. Is that right?
Yeah, you've got like
I'm just giving you like a 10,000 foot view.
Yeah, P&L sheet, right? Like expenses, income, revenue, right? Salaries, and there's a percentage split, right? And how you move that throughout the year, you just got to balance it. And then if you're up, good for you. If you're down, you've got to make up the difference, right?
So you pay that out of your salary if it's
everything, low. Everything. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. If I was you're personally responsible for the account. Straight up, I'm responsible. If I had $1 million unexpected expense, I better have a way or be able to attach it to somewhere and say, but it's going to make this money here. If not, per my agreement, per the revenue, I would owe that money back, right? And essentially, I would be working next year with no salary, or the next year, right? So you're accountable, right? The reason at this level of management, and I had a huge book of business. It was a whale, right? With 200 to 250 contracts, right? Individual contracts, revenue, a lot of deal flow, right? So you've got positives, you've got negatives, right? And anyone we front a lot of money to a lot of athletes, right? At any time, right? It's the reason you're with a big agency. So a lot of time, revenue commission, you're putting it here, you're putting it there to grow others, knowing that it will come back in, right? We invest. I think what people don't understand, you're not really an agent, you're in the talent development business, right? You're constant.
Funny he says it that way, because in the entertainment and music industry, they do a loan called an advance. And they do that at signing of the contract, that you will pay them back. And you'll do it with 3 albums at the least. So if you have your 3rd album and it flops, and you still have that chunk not paid back, you gotta pump out more music or do something. And then after that's paid off, you still have other expenses during this time. Your glam squad, your housekeeper, your nanny, your driver, your security team, your agents, your managers, assistants. It goes on and on. That's why it takes a long time for an artist to actually become wealthy. But outside of that, a lot of people do not find that as a standard practice or something really acceptable. Money being moved around, they don't like that. But in the past couple of years, there's been a lot of instances where we're like, hey, why aren't people clearly not doing their jobs? What is going on? And especially in a situation like this where there's a lot of money. But also going back to this being put out in the public, I was thinking about it. Why would Racer X do this? This is not about a race or motorsport. This has to deal with people outside of the whole actual race and the entertainment of it. So technically, if someone's to cover it, it should be Business Insider or something like that. But this doesn't look good for either side.
Constantly seeding, reinvesting in, right? And that's probably why other agents, haven't had the success I have. I've invested into a lot of athletes. I've lost a lot of personal money investing in, right? So they all don't work, but I have more money. I put my money where my mouth is a lot in this game. Long-winded answer.
Okay, yeah. No, but so I'm trying to just sum it up for people because I'm dumb and I'm having a hard time understanding quite all that, but let me just break this. No. I just do this to listen, I'm the master of simplifying. So essentially you have an account, and in the accounts that they give agents, you're allowed to go. So let's say I'm Chris Cooksey, I work for Wasserman. I spot a talented kid, but he's broke. I can, out of my Wasserman account, go set him up with what he needs, and then as he becomes a star, I'm also responsible when that money comes in to pay back the money that I spent.
Yeah, anything you put out, right, if it was personal or through Wasserman, or if you had in this situation there was another account with Wasserman money, everything's got to even out. Everything, right? The dollar out's got to have a dollar back in, or you're going to say, no, we'll get it at this time, right? Within reason, right? Like there's limits to what you would do, but you're responsible for the peanut. You're responsible for the loss. You fuck up 200K, I'm up for it, right? Wasserman would never lose. Wasserman doesn't and it's sports agency, they don't lose. That's why you're there, they don't lose. If I wanted to leave Wasserman, they don't lose. Athletes are tied to it. So if I'm up, okay, great. If I'm down, it's on me.
So how often do you have an accountant that probably checks these accounts like once a month, right? And they do the P&L and they let you know, hey, Lucas, you're up, you're down. Do they let you know where you're at? And how often does that happen?
No, on this one, there was no sort of protocol on this because it was a super unique situation, right? Because everything else goes to Wasserman directly, right? Let's not get too much in the weeds on that. Every other claim goes to them directly because there was a liability factor. No one wanted to touch this, and I'm no finance bro or expert, right? So we had to go with accounting, finance, but degrees handling that account across. He was coordinating with the accountants, and he's a mentor to me, right? And his name will get mentioned obviously in the suit.
You don't need to mention names, just as long as you say the guy. We're just trying to give people the idea of what happened.
He was the one managing the situation, right? Kind of a mentor to me, but managing that side of it and handling the invoicing, getting the money back in. Yeah, just dealing with the accountant, going over the overview. I think don't quote me on this, but they attached QuickBooks to the account, and the accountant could oversee it. So that was keeping track of it. I don't do invoicing. I don't do, that side of the business. I'm busy representing and looking at opportunities and creating revenue.
So you've got full access to this account, and then I'll be honest with you. If you were going to launder money, I don't think I'd put in the notes childcare, and they're saying you put childcare in there. Why on earth? That doesn't make sense either. If you're going to launder money, you're not going to name it childcare and plan on paying that works, or you're allowed to do specific stuff?
On this situation, right, it's the reference point. I went through a traumatic divorce, like addiction and violence, and I had to file for divorce.
Let me just clarify, not your addiction.
No, on the other side. So there was a forced situation that had to be to guarantee the safety of actually myself and the children. Right? We were held up in a hotel for a week, and I think everyone will remember last year I had Maverick at every race with me. From there, in divorce, your assets get frozen. Right, the moment you file, it was frozen. What they're alleging is theft, and I stole and I embezzled money. In that process, I've incurred major fees, unforecasted stuff that comes in revenue. I have to pay for someone else's attorneys. I had to, right? When you file for divorce, I can't take another loan out. If I bring in more revenue, I have to revenue or income, I have to report it, right? And overall, I was in a fucking traumatic situation. The people I trusted said, "Hey, use Wasserman's money, right? Use this loan against this, right? And then you repay it back, right? You can repay it back because there is so much revenue income owed on my employment agreement and whatnot." In hindsight, it's a failure of judgment, but the alleged what's going on, and I'm probably saying way too much that any of my attorney would ever feel comfortable, but it's the fucking truth,
Yep.
right? And I'm not going to shy away with it, right? It was suggested by someone I trust and love, like a brother who was overseeing this account and overseeing this, and it's not Lawrence money. I'm going to be very fucking clear. It's nothing to do with them at this point. It's not their account. It's not stolen. It was all detailed, right? That it was going to be a loan, and with the income and on my employment agreement.
Thank you for tuning in. Tell me in the comments down below what you think about this whole thing. Do you think he's being honest? Or do you think something is definitely up? See you soon.